Planet Dolan.
From monsters living in toilets to the death of Santa Claus, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from Reddit about the stupidest things we believed when we were kids. I'm Hellbent, and today I'll be your narrator. This story was submitted by Sad Boys Throwaway 5295. When he was little, Pringle used to think the moon was stalking him. He always thought it followed him whenever he went for a walk or was in the car with his family at night. It scared him a lot because he felt like he couldn't get away. Pringle even felt that it was staring at him through the ceiling, waiting for him to venture outside. One day, he saw the moon when the sun was still out. Being a little boy, he couldn't process how the sun and the moon could be out at the same time. It scared him so much he began to cry, making his mom finally explain to him how the moon works. This story was submitted by Deejaydoug. Pecan's sister managed to convince her that stones were baby boulders. She went on to explain that when people drive down gravel roads, the noise the tires make against the gravel are the stones screaming in pain. Once Pecan and her sister became adults, she reminded her sister about what she had told her about the gravel roads when they were little. Her sister laughed and said that she was a nasty little brat for having told her that back then. This story was submitted by BarontheBlack. As a boy, Gergak hated it when the food on his plate touched. It wasn't because it would taste different, but because there wasn't a way to separate it once it reached his stomach. So, his parents told him that a tiny man lived in his stomach and that his only job was to separate the food as it came in. Being young and naive, Gergak completely fell for it. This story was submitted by IAmSparta. Recently, a friend of Nixiam's family passed away. While thinking about him one day, he remembered something the friend told him when he was little. He told him that if he breathed in a graveyard, the dead bodies would come back to life and drag him into the graves with them! Since the family friend was a tall guy, Nixiam made him carry him on his shoulders whenever they took a shortcut to the 7-Eleven through a graveyard. The whole time, Nixiam thought that if he was unable to hold his breath, the zombies would get his friend faster since he was closer to the ground. He figured that while the zombies were dragging him into the grave, it would give Nixiam enough time to escape. The friend later told him that he thought it was adorable how he always asked him for shoulder rides whenever they walked through the graveyard. This story was submitted by DasaniCoke. Derek remembered hearing about a man named Bush on the news and how he was trying to become the president of the United States. Being little and not knowing who Bush was or what being a president meant, he did understand that it was a big deal. He imagined the election as being in a giant football stadium filled with people. Bush himself was a man who wore a giant bush over his head and torso who came running out to the middle of the field. The crowd would go wild as Bush pumped his fist trying to hype everyone up! Then his opponent would come out, wearing nothing but a suit and a tie. The president would then be chosen by whoever the crowd cheered for the hardest. I mean, that's pretty much how it's gonna go down this year. This story was submitted by the Balance32. Paprika had a mischievous older brother who liked to play jokes on her. One of the biggest jokes he ever pulled was on the day he found an obituary. In it was a man dressed as Santa Claus. He decided to show Paprika the obituary and tell her that Santa had died. When he told her, she said that she didn't believe him. However, he could tell that she did believe him by looking at her sad expression. For a long time, she believed her brother's lie, until she was like 28. It's really awkward being around her. This story was submitted by Passthemelon. When she was little, Ladybot would turn off the TV whenever she couldn't watch what she wanted. One time, after she turned off the TV, Ladybot's older sister told her that if she pressed the main power button, the TV would explode. Her sister's attempt at keeping her from turning the TV off worked, until years later when Ladybot turned 15. Little late to be figuring out how the TV works, but alright. Their younger sister wanted to watch something that their older sister didn't, so she pressed the power button. At first, Ladybot was shocked that the TV didn't explode, but quickly learned the truth soon after. This story was submitted by blackpapabear. Sid's brother convinced him that when he flushed the toilet, the flushing noise was actually a monster attempting to crawl up. The only thing that would stop the monster was when the water pushed it back down the drain. Obviously. Sid was apparently a very special boy because even as a teenager, he irrationally flushed toilets by flushing before and after going to the bathroom. It was only until his long latent maturity kicked in when he no longer believed in the toilet monster. This story was submitted by Fried Rug. When he was little, Ghost Toast would believe that a band of skeletons would come out and play music and party whenever he turned off the lights and left a room. It wouldn't be until Ghost Toast or another member of his family came back into the room when the skeletons would immediately hide. Nobody ever told Ghost Toast that happened whenever someone left a room. For some weird reason, it was just something he made up one day and decided to believe. This story was submitted by inckalt. One day, James Shark was hanging out with two of his friends. The first, Salty Squid, told him that he needed to chew oysters, otherwise they wouldn't die and they'd stick to his esophagus. His other friend, Gooby, had a different idea about how to eat oysters. She told him that he should never chew them. If he did, then the oyster's gastric fluid would erupt and burn off his tongue. After hearing the advice from Salty Squid and Gooby, James Shark decided to never eat oysters. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.